Another day at camp gone, and another chance to hear from Shane Steichen talk about his offense, talk about his team, and the differences between year one and year two for him, the differences between this practice and a couple of the previous practices, how this offense kind of needs to come together, how Jonathan Taylor needs to be a big part of it, and how Anthony Richardson is sort of figuring stuff out. Really, really interesting from Shane. We had a chance to talk to him.
Are there any updates on Raekwon Davis?
We're still working through those things. I don't have anything for you.
Last year you started with the wide receiver group, only having like three guys on the 53, and then there are a lot more tight ends. But this year you got a lot more. Seems like a lot more in the wide receiving group, and you still got quite a bit in the tight ends. How difficult is that going to be when it comes to cuts?
Yeah, there's a lot of competition in both spots, especially, receiver, tight end. I mean, those are going to be some hard decisions that are being made for us, on cut day. But we're working through those things. We still got 3 preseason games left, and those guys got to go and prove it every single day.
How good of a test is it for Anthony and JT as they're kind of figuring out what they can and can't do to go against Speed and Franklin in practice?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's really good. You go against your defense, OTAs and into training camp. They kind of know you. We know them. So it's a great battle. You know what I mean? It's the game within the game, little nuances with that. So it's been good. It's been really good to see, but it'll be good to go against somebody else next week.
The last 3 days of camp in particular, what have you seen from this defensive line? It just feels like they're hitting the backfield at a high rate.
Yeah, they're rushing the passer at a high level, and that's what we want, Obviously, the defensive line, third downs, passing situations, go hunt and go get the quarterback, and they've been doing a good job of that.
Shane, we see Zaire on the field. We know what he can do. What do you see from him behind the scenes, film room, locker room, that has him at a top-level guy?
It's phenomenal. His leadership ability inside that locker room, on this practice field, the way he leads that defense, with his voice, he holds everyone to a high standard. The peer-to-peer accountability, it can come from the coaches, which is great, and that's our job to do that. But when it comes player to player, that's when it takes on a whole nother level, and he does a phenomenal job with that. And then he makes plays on Sundays, which is huge.
Obviously, it's a very different story from last camp to this year's camp for Jonathan Taylor. How have you seen, he just came up here all smiles, real chatty. How have you seen his attitude change or energy change this year?
It's great. Obviously, it was a different situation last year, and that's behind us. And we feel grateful that he's here, obviously starting camp and being with the team and ready for week one. He's a phenomenal player, and we're just really fortunate to have him.
Can you feel his excitement? Is it contagious?
Yeah, it's contagious. He's always smiling. He's always ready to go. He's got great energy. He gives great effort, and obviously he runs the heck out of the ball really well for us.
Coach, going into year 2, what have you done personally to improve your coaching coming into year?
I think communication, really the biggest thing for me was learning our team. You know what I mean? You learn your team, how guys operate, different personalities. When you're around certain guys, you know how they function, you know how they operate. You can coach a guy a certain way, and another guy's got to be coached a different way sometimes. So that's been big for me to learn our team, and then we go from there.
Shane, will you play the starters next week?
I'm going to make that decision in the middle of this week.
Yeah. Shane, how different are those call-up periods at the end of practice, just from an evaluation standpoint?
They're great. They're absolutely phenomenal for us. I mean, we're getting into some more call-ups. We have a little bit of scripted periods, but more call-ups are good for us. Guys can't study scripts before practice, and we got to see and find out what they know, and it goes fast. You're in and out of the huddle. You're playing, no huddle stuff at times, and you got to get lined up and operate at a high level quickly.
JT mentioned the communication was something that he still wants to see worked on. Is there anything that you want to see over this next week before the first preseason game?
I think that's the biggest thing. It is. It's really communication at the end of the day. If we're all on the same page, you know what I mean? Everyone's on the same page. That's when you operate at a high level, because you got to have all 11 on the same page. If one guy's off, bad things happen. So communication piece, we keep working on that. And once we get to week 1, we got to be at a high level.
Shane, what has Trey Sermon shown you here?
He's been really good. He's been really, really good for us. He had some good stuff last year for us that he put on tape. And then, obviously he's doing some really good things here. Really good in pass pro. I've been really impressed with that, with the third down stuff. And also running and seeing the holes has been good.
Shane, can you kind of speak on what Joe Flacco has added to not only just the offense in the quarterback room, but Anthony and his development overall?
Yeah, I think it's great when you have a veteran quarterback in that room. He's seen a lot. I think I said this, last time we were here, but he's seen a lot of things. And to have that experience that he could share with those guys in that room, it's invaluable for us.
That's Shane Steichen. I'm telling you, behind closed doors, he's not happy with this offense. This offense has got to get better. They got to figure some things out. That defense ahead of the offense right now, that's not unusual for camp. We see it all the time. But he knows that this team is going to go as far as that offense takes it. That's how football this decade in the 20s works. and Steichen's got to get this thing on the rails and moving forward. And he's got to do it sooner rather than later, because we got, what do we have? We got, 4.5 weeks? 5 weeks from today. The opener on September 8th at Lucas Oil against the Houston Texans. You got to win an opener, right? Once. Steichen, that's got to be the focus. You've got to win that opening game.